What is up? What is up, YouTube? How y'all doing? Check this out. I thought I'd go to the next level and talk about some editing. So far, we haven't talked about editing the whole time on the channel. Well, I probably touched on it a little bit, but I think some people probably ready to move to the next level, which would be editing. And after this intro, we're going to check it out.
Growth's got a formula most never learn. You don't need luck or talent, structure is earned. If you're ready to build and you know it's your turn, start with the 4 free videos, earn as you learn. Click on the more below to sign up.
That's right. Click on the more, which is our description below to sign up. It is early in the morning here in the Philippines. And we're going to sit here and talk about how to edit your YouTube videos, and let's see if this is a good app that you're using or whatever the case may be. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. Let's check it out.
If you shoot a lot of content with your phone, the fastest way to take those clips and turn them into full-length YouTube videos is to edit them right there on your smartphone. And at the time of recording this video, still our favorite tool to edit YouTube videos with from our mobile devices is CapCut. Now, CapCut has made some adjustments this year in terms of their plan pricing and what you can get out of your free versions and premium versions and everything in between. So we do encourage you, if you are going to primarily edit videos from your phone, you can choose to upgrade your plan, and that's going to allow some additional features and more exports without any watermarks on your video if you decide to use CapCut. But in today's video, I'm just going to completely use the free version so you can see how that works. So let's start with step 1, and that's opening up CapCut and getting our project set up. So when you open up CapCut, you'll see all of your recent projects if you've edited projects before. If not, you will hit the new project button at the very top of the interface. And that's going to instantly open up your camera roll. There's lots of footage here, but the first thing I'm going to do is select this longest clip right here. It's a 6-minute clip, and that's my talking head footage where I'm talking about my desk setup. So I'm going to click that. And then what I can do is actually hit the trim button. So I can sort of trim this before I even import. So you're kind of doing like pre-editing before you even start editing the footage to begin with. So I'll just kind of select a little bit into the video. I won't get too crazy with it, and maybe trim off a little bit of the end as well. And that gets me, a little starting point. And then I'll just hit that check mark right there and then hit add to my timeline. So right here, we can see that the footage has been added to the timeline and I'm ready to start editing. A couple things you want to do before you start editing though is adjust your project settings. So if you click this little button, right now it says AI Ultra HD. It's because it's trying to add like this AI effect. I don't want that. I'm going to turn that off for now. This is where you can select your resolution, your frame rate, your codec, so like how high of a quality you want to export this video as. So for resolution, it just depends on what you shot your video. So you could do 1080p or 4K. We'll just do 1080p today. It's a little bit of a lower resolution, but it should be fine for what we're doing today. And then our frame rate, I actually shot all of this video in 24 frames per second. So I'm going to slide this slider over to 24. If you are shooting maybe overseas in like a European country, you'll be shooting in the PAL settings. And so that's like 25 frames per second, which you might be choosing there. But typically for us in North America, we'd be shooting in either 24 or 30 frames per second for most of our talking head A-roll style footage. There are a few important functions you'll want to be aware of. First would be the play button is right there in the center. So anytime you hit that, it will start playing your video, obviously. You can also scroll left and right by just kind of using your thumb to scroll back and forth. And that'll sort of fast forward or rewind the clip as you need. There's also an undo and redo function. So if I click on my clip, I'll just kind of scale it up by pinching and zooming in. And that's obviously too far. Now, if I wanted to undo that action, there's a little back button right here on the right side of the screen. I'll click that and then it'll undo that scale to whatever I had. And I made a few different adjustments so I can kind of go forward or backwards depending what I want that scale to be. And that's how you undo or redo any actions. This button over here on the left will let you edit in full screen mode or view your edit in full screen. You just hit play and now we have a full screen edit, which is really nice. I like to use this to make sure my video is actually looking nice in the full screen format. And then down below at the bottom of the screen are all these different editing and effects properties that we can use to edit our video and enhance it even further. So now that we have the basic overview of CapCut, it's now time to start editing our video. And the first thing that I usually like to edit on CapCut would be my A-roll footage. So that's all of the content delivery. So right now what you're seeing right here is my A-roll shot. And what we'll look at in my editing timeline first and foremost is the A-roll that I shot for my video. And we need to select the first frame of video. So if I kind of scroll through this timeline here, you can see that I was getting prepared as my wife was recording me. And so we got to find this moment in which I start talking. And so the easiest way to do this, in my opinion, is to just edit that clip right here by hitting split. And so I know that that's the beginning of where I want to start my video. So this clip on the left here, we don't even need. So I can click on it. And then down here below, I can just hit this delete button. And now when I hit play, the video is going to start right where I want it to. So this is my super productive YouTube Studio workstation. So that looks really good. Now I need to skim forward in time to later in the video when I start my first bullet point. And the first thing that I talk about is my computer setup. And so I need to find the portion where I actually made a couple mistakes. So I want to cut those out of the video. So I think right here is where I actually pick up the take and do it correctly. So I'm going to hit split on that clip and we'll watch it from here. So the heart and soul behind this workstation. So I actually need to zoom in really tight on my timeline and actually get that cut dialed in just a little bit more. So it looks like I need to be more like right here is where I would want that cut to be. So I'll split that. And then we'll delete this little clip right here. This one we'll get rid of. And then also this clip. So this one right here on the timeline is just this big empty space where I'm preparing for my next section of content delivery. But all of this is not needed. So we need to delete this portion of the video as well so that when I insert my animation right here, later in the video, we'll talk about adding effects and animations, things like that.
Yeah,
it picks right back up with my content delivery. So we'll watch how this transition would be right now. What I use for my YouTube workflow. So the heart and soul behind this workstation is my computer. Okay, so we're getting there. This is basic editing, right? So I went through and made all of the cuts for my A-roll, and you can see that here on the timeline. And now it's time to start adding what we call B-roll. So B-roll is supplemental footage that's going to reinforce whatever we're talking about. So specifically for this video, I'm talking about my desk setup. So I went and shot a bunch of B-roll with my phone of my desk setup, all of the different pieces, like the camera, the microphone, the audio interface, all of these pieces. And now I can go in based on what I'm talking about in my A-roll and find the corresponding B-roll to add into my video. So let's just watch this portion of the video so you can see what I'm talking about. So in terms of audio for this workstation, I use the Rodecaster Pro 2 as my audio interface. Okay, so I'm talking about the Rodecaster audio interface here. So I shot some B-roll of the Rodecaster, so let's insert that into our video so the user can see a more tight shot of what I'm talking about with that Rodecaster. So if you can't see the overlay button, what you need to do is not click on this clip. You need to click out of that clip so we can see these main video adjustments. And we need to click on overlay right here and then add overlay. And again, remember, we're looking inside of this desk tour video folder because we organized our footage.
Okay.
And I can see here's a clip where I am pointing at the Rodecaster. What I'm going to do is hit trim so that I'm only importing the portion of the video that I want. So let's kind of cut off that beginning section just a little bit. Right as I start moving forward, I'll grab that portion and I don't need too much. Let's see. So this is all interesting. I point to the Rodecaster. So let's take this 17-second clip, add that into our timeline. So it takes just a second to load in. And then there you have it. So that video now has been input into our timeline, but it actually is a little bit scaled down. So what I will do is click on the video and then use my thumbs to scale it back up to the appropriate size. I don't know why it always does this with overlays, but just something you want to be aware of. You always want to scale up your overlaid B-roll footage if it imports at not the right size. So now I'll click and hold this clip and drag it to this portion, which is where I want the B-roll to begin. So watch how this plays out.
Well, it kind of drags in a little smaller on purpose to let you know that there's a picture under it and you can play it like in the corner, like how we do our videos, or you can play it full screen to cover up the other video. So it kind of does that on purpose, just to let you know.
In terms of audio for this workstation, I use the Rodecaster Pro 2 as my audio interface, which is pretty overkill for this setup because I'm just an individual and you could use this for multiple people, podcasting and live streaming, but I just have access to it. So I did set it up here for all of my streaming needs, especially, is when this is really helpful. So right around this point is where I can probably end this B-roll shot. So I'm going to use this handle right here at the end to drag it to where it's going to snap to that point of my playhead or my cursor. Okay. So now if I hit play, needs especially, is when this is really helpful. Now, if your B-roll footage has audio attached that you don't want to hear in your mix, you can click on your B-roll clip and then down here at the bottom, click volume, and then just turn that volume all the way down. And that's going to turn off that clip. And it actually gives you a nice little mute symbol right there. So you can see that the audio is off on that B-roll. Now, if I back out of this interface, you're actually going to see the B-roll appear as little indicators across your timeline at different sections. And so what you can do is expand those by clicking on them, and then you'll see your B-roll layers that we've added to this video. Okay, so that's the basic overview of editing A-roll and B-roll inside of CapCut. Now let's add a few little things to spice up our video, like some graphics, sound effects, and music. So right here, I'm talking about the Sony FX30, and I would love to see a graphic come on screen to highlight to the users what camera it is specifically by seeing that text come on screen. So what I can do is come here in our main interface, and we're gonna hit this text button, and then I'm going to add text right here. There's all these presets you can do, but I just want to create a custom text, and I'm gonna title it Sony, let's make it all caps, Sony FX30. There are quite a few templates that you can choose from, and you'll have even more options if you do purchase a more premium plan. But for now, we're just gonna focus on the basic font choice, but we can change up the style a little bit. So maybe we'd want to add a background. So we could add maybe a little bit more narrow background. I prefer personally. Nice. You can change the corner radius, really circle. I usually like square, but maybe I'll round the corners just a tiny bit. We got height and width. That looks good. I'll also add an animation so that
looks very professional.
The effect comes in, so you can see these different tabs here. There's in, out, or loop. I think when it comes in on screen, I'll have it slide right. And when it comes out, I'll have it slide down. And if we see these handles here at the bottom, we can change the duration of how long that slide is going to happen for the intro. So maybe I'll make it about a half second or so. And then for this one, same thing. We can make it about, however long we want. So this is how that animation is looking. I think that it's a little bit too long, so I'm going to click and drag it to maybe this spot in the video, and we'll watch what that looks like. What I use for this workstation is the FX. So I think the animation comes in too early. Let's click and hold to drag it to where I say Sony FX30.
Yeah, it's up to you or what you feel if you're producing whatever you're producing, but it's up to you to actually, when you're making your video, you have to imagine how you want this video to feel to other people. So when you say this Sony, the name of it, then you want the name to come in, or however you feel that's great.
Instead of seeing it too early. Station is the FX30 primarily. So this is an APS-C crop sensor camera, and the lens is the Sigma 16mm. So now I'll show you how I can add our Think Media intro bumper. Now I think I need to go to our Think Media folder. Let's see here, Think Media assets. This is our animation. So I'm going to add this into the video. And so it just snaps right between my A-roll clips. So my hook is right here, and now I've added the animation, but there's a lot of black space. And that's because this is both an audio sound effect as well as a visual animation that happens at the end of the video. So I actually need to detach these from each other so that the audio and the video are treated as separate files. And that's actually really easy to do in CapCut. All you got to do is click on the clip, and then you're going to slide over to the right and then click Extract Audio. And when you do that, the audio is now on its own layer, so I can independently move these files from each other. So all I need to see with the animation is right when this logo animation pops up, which is right about here. And now I need to move the audio that I've extracted over to the left and then align it right when the animation hits. Okay, let's see how this intro is looking. What I use for my YouTube workflow.
You gotta just press record.
So the heart and soul behind this workstation is my M3 MacBook Pro.
That is incredible. That is incredible. You heard while he's still talking, the sound effects kind of climbs up little by little, zoom, and they got a real short hook line. That's incredible. You gotta just press record. And he probably said that when they was talking. I said, man, dude, you just got to press record. I mean, I don't know if they practiced that, but it sounded like something he just said one day, man. And it's incredible to me. I love that one little saying right there. Here we go. Let's check it out one more time.
Animation pops up, which is right about here. And now I need to move the audio that I've extracted over to the left and then align it right when the animation hits. Okay, let's see how this intro is looking. You know what I use for my YouTube workflow.
You gotta just press record.
So the heart and soul behind this
that.
workstation is my M3 MacBook Pro. This handles all of my video editing and even live streaming and YouTube administration tasks. So I use this to edit all my videos, do everything with my... Awesome, this is looking like any other video that I would have made. There's B-roll, there's graphics, there's all of the things that I need. There's one more thing that it's missing though, which is some music. So I'm gonna add that right now. So if you're in the main interface, we actually want to click into our sound collection. So you can click that audio layer. And then we wanna add some sounds here on the bottom left. So click that. And then music is some of the first options that you can add. And so I'm gonna add this aesthetic boomin' beats right here. I pre-saved this audio file. Let's listen. All right. That's saucy. So I'm gonna drag this audio around so that it starts right after that animation bumper that we have. And then also it's gonna be too loud, that's for sure. So I'm gonna click on that audio and then reduce the volume a ton. So literally I think like volume of like 3 or 4 or 5, like this is gonna be loud enough. So let's listen to how this sounds.
You gotta just press record.
So the heart and soul behind this workstation is my M3 MacBook Pro. This handles all of my video editing. Cool, that's a really subtle ambiance.
Right. One thing for sure, you want to turn that bed. We call it a bed of music. It's a little bed of music. The bed of music is designed, it's there to, whenever you take pauses, you're not saying anything, it kind of flows into what your voice is doing. That way, it just puts the viewer in a laid back state of mind, so to speak. You don't want it blasting over top. I mean, you want that bed like 3 steps under your vocals. You want your vocals to be dominant. And because I'm telling you this, because when I first started putting beds in especially my YouTube videos, I had the music too loud because I'm a music man. I love music. So you gotta bring that bed down. That bed gotta be down. I'm talking about 10. If it's 100% on your recording, bring it down to like 10. Don't bring it like 50 and your vocals is 100%. That's too loud. Bring it down to about 10, sometimes 9, 8. Sometimes I have to use 7, so bring that music down.
You gotta just press record.
So the heart and soul behind this workstation is my M3 MacBook Pro. This handles all of my video editing. Cool, that's a really subtle ambiance. You really don't want your music to overpower in the mix or it's gonna be hard to hear your voice. So keep that audio really low. Honestly, like a level of 4 or 5 is totally fine to just be some background audio. So this video is looking good. I think it's ready to go. So I'm going to double check my export settings real quick. So if you click this little export settings button up top, so I'm double checking resolution is 1080p, frame rate is 24 frames per second. Now, if you shot in 4K, awesome. Then just bump up your resolution to 4K. And if you shot in a higher frame rate, like 30 frames per second, you would adjust that as well. At this point, you can hit export on the top right corner and your video is going to export in a matter of a few minutes. So once that finishes, it's going to save directly to your camera roll. So you're able to access that file and distribute it wherever you want, or you can share directly from the TikTok kind of interface that's built in here to CapCut. So you can share it to TikTok, Instagram as well, Facebook, all these different platforms, or you could start a new project right away via this interface. So that's a basic overview of how to edit a video just using your smartphone inside of CapCut. Now, if you want to upload the video that you just edited directly to YouTube, you can actually watch this video right here where I walk you through the best upload settings for YouTube if you're uploading from your mobile phone. So you can check out that video right here and we'll see you guys in the next one.
That was very interesting, man, because I don't use CapCut or CapCut. The reason why I don't use CapCut, I like to use something other than what the majority of the people is using. But it seemed like to me they all the same. The button's probably a little different or whatever. I use is it called InCut? InShot. It's called InShot. And they pretty much the same. I'll probably download CapCut since I'm teaching and everything, and then the majority rules in this case. The majority of people use CapCut because every time I look, somebody say, I use CapCut. And Like they got one over on me or something. I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna get on up out of here, man. Hey, y'all take it light, take it slow. Tell them Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out.